So it's 7:03. I will call the meeting to order. We will take attendance. Meiser here, Bachman here, Schneider
Here.
Wecken,
Here.
Anderson
Here.
Howard
Here.
Mitchell.
Here.
We are all here. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Can you hear me with the mask okay? Can you understand? Okay. We will approve the meeting minutes of the meeting of October 16th, 2019. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Hang on a second, I gotta write this down. Okay, is there any comments or corrections?
Not that I know of.
Hearing none. Is there approval of the meeting minutes of October 16th? It says 2019, but it's really 2020. That's the only correction I have. All in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye.
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 Right.
It passes. Okay. The first order of business is the review of a conditional use permit. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the old one. We're done with that. Our next item on here is a conditional use permit of Heidi Mahler to construct an elevator lift at 222 Summer Landing North. It will be a public hearing. Before we do that, if turn that going here. Okay, if Heidi Mahler or whatever represents us here would describe what they want to do first before we go to public hearing.
Sure. I am with Heidi. I'm calling you from Minneapolis, Minnesota, actually Orono, Minnesota. We're the manufacturers of this equipment, and we propose to put a hillside elevator in, an incline elevator, which we're regulated by the state of Wisconsin Elevator Safety Division. So we will not only get you guys to give your blessing on the elevator installation on the side of that hill, based on the the Scenic Water Protection Act. We also have to go through Brian Roush, who is the chief elevator inspector in the Department of Labor and Industry for the state of Wisconsin, and we'll pull a permit for that. So we're regulated two different ways, and we're looking to install a lift to get down to the water above the 100-year floodplain, based on the Army Corps of Engineer line.
Okay. Is the village engineer here tonight?
Yes. Yep.
I'm
in attendance.
Okay. Wow. Do you want to comment on your responses? And I understand you might even have some more from what we've got on our package.
Yeah. So I provided, took a look at what was submitted, and the gentleman had said this is in the lower St. Croix National Scenic Riverway District. So obviously there's quite a few requirements, and some of the items that I had picked out are some of the main items. They're provided on the memo that I put together. So the car floor has to be, can't exceed 4 by 6 feet in area. It has to be in a fashion, the color scheme, earth tone, non-reflective materials, and visually inconspicuous. The existing vegetation may only be within 1 feet of each side of the lift route, no more than 8 feet above the lift floor. And then obviously we'll have to have erosion control measures in place while it is in construction. And then number 4 here, D, is we need to have that certified by a professional engineer or architect, that the stairways or lift components are securely anchored and prevent them from shifting and causing any erosion. And then the last item is any comments from the DNR. We would obviously want to have those addressed prior to any construction taking place.
And do you have an opinion on any of these concerns if they're met?
Yeah, based on what I've seen, what was provided as part of their application. I think everything, what's being provided is being met, so.
Okay. Do any of the committee members have anything to ask either of the people before we go to public hearing?
Is this just for the lift, or is there a landing on the upper and lower? And do you have proposed sites or decks that you're going to build on these?
Yeah, we're gonna be having a platform at the top and bottom that'll be very minimal. Somewhere, I believe that they're talking about like 40 square feet of surface area, like a 5x8, something like that. And what we have to do to meet the National Elevator Safety Code is to have a platform with handrails, with a gate, a swinging gate in between my car, which will have a sliding gate and an interlock on it, or a safety contact. So you got to have all these doors closed to run the lift.
Right.
And then we're gonna
I've
go-
cleared these roads.
Yeah, that's the whole deal. So I'm gonna say it's gonna be built out of wood and probably in that 40 square feet top, 40 square feet bottom. And then usually on the St. Croix, you've got a few steps down to get to these floating docks or whatever they have down below.
Right, and everything will be neutral tones,
Yes.
earth colors, and
Yeah, we're gonna use the Department of Land Management colors. And what we usually do is we're using Lexan, but we can go with a clear Lexan. So if you're standing on the top of the hill and you're looking through my elevator, it doesn't look like a bird cage where you've got all the spindles. It's a very handsome look, and you can see Minnesota right through it. Maybe you don't want to, but you're going to.
Well, did you see the letter from the Wisconsin DNR with her comments? So part D, we're about, when you mentioned the clear carbonate, and she's talking about it be earth colored and non-reflective.
Well,
Isn't that a problem?
you can see right through it. I mean, if you want us to do sheet metal on the sides, I've never done it before. I just did one down in the Kinney Connect right in Pierce through Tri Township. I've done many of them with Lexan. It looks really nice because you don't see anything. You see through it. You see through a earth tone style, style color.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they're really got a problem with Lexan, which is clear like glass, I've never had a problem with it, and I've been working on the river since 1991.
So that'd be something you could talk to the DNR about and clarify.
Sure, we can definitely talk to them. And so the car and the chassis is going to be powder coat painted, earth tone colors, again, Department of Land Management colors. That
You picked out a
whole
color?
palette of colors. And then typically what we're doing to protect the steel into the ground is we're driving pipe into the ground to refusal anywhere from 5 to 15 feet into the ground. And so we're only penetrating that ground 2 inches by 2 inches every 10 feet. You have a support on the left, support on the right. We're using a square tube. So it's very little penetration on that hill. And the DNR loves these lifts over steps. The problem with steps is nothing grows underneath stairs. The beauty of our system is stuff will grow up, and literally by the time we're done with it, you're going to see weeds. They're going to have to maintain underneath the track to keep some of that weeds and stuff growing through. So
what is your bedrock at?
I don't know what the
bedrock at?
hills are up there, but I can tell you down in the Kinney Connect, the rock is right
It's
there.
steep.
I've done
It's only
work
3
on
feet,
north
sometimes
of
6,
Hudson.
sometimes 8.
And I'm driving pipe with an 80-pound jackhammer, and I can get through almost anything unless it's solid rock, which is
Yeah,
good
sounds
footing unless it's 12 inches below, and then I'll grout that thing in. There'll be a different way to attach it at that point. But along that hillside, I've worked on that hillside before, and I'll be able to drive that pipe into refusal.
Okay. If, anybody have anything else? Otherwise, we could go to public hearing.
I guess my
Thank you.
question,
Can I just ask
Yeah,
a
go ahead.
question here?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead and ask the
It
questions.
looks like on the plan submitted that shows a 4x4 landing on both on the top and the bottom, and I think the gentleman was talking about something in excess of that. So I just want to clarify what the actual plan is that's going to be approved here.
Yeah, I would say that that landing has to be 4 by, something in that 5 by 8, might be a little less, might be a little bit more, but give us about 40 square feet top and bottom. We don't want a deck out there. We just want a safe way to get onto the elevator.
Yeah, you can't have a deck down there.
Not a deck, a platform.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, no.
Be nice to know the exact measurements that you're planning for.
Yeah, we're aware of that.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
we just see this document. I think this document is what we're referring to that shows it as a 4x4 landing.
Yeah, that's probably.
and was that what was the 4x4 landing submitted to the DNR for their comment?
That's a good question. I guess I'm not sure of that. I just know that reality says we should have around 36 of, like a half or a sheet of plywood to 40 square feet, 32 to 40 square feet. And we can shore that up, the look of those landings top and bottom. And I can get a structural engineer to wet stamp these drawings for you as well. I'm not sure if we've got that to you or not. So.
Well, you should have an accurate plan as to what's being approved.
Sure. Yep.
Rob, did you have a question?
I guess we're talking about this clear polycarbonate material.
Yeah.
And I can have I can have an imaginary idea of what that's like, but you must have photographs.
Yep. Go to hillhiker.com. We have oodles and oodles of pages on it. Sure. Yep.
Hill Hiker?
Rob, did you have a question?
HILLHIKER.com.
Okay.
Yep. And I've never been shot down with Lexan in 20 some years on the river.
Okay, so hopefully we've cleared up a lot of questions. So at this time,
I was gonna say, I
I
have,
would entertain Mary, do you have something?
yeah, I've got a question. We received pictures of the trees that were cleared. Can you tell me how wide that is?
I really don't know because I haven't been there. Typically, we need a corridor of about 5 feet. It's usually pretty small. And I guess I truly don't know what's there or if there was a corridor cut or not.
And I'm not sure those trees could have been cleared all the way down without receiving approval for the conditional use permit.
I'm an elevator manufacturer. I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that.
Paul, do you know?
Well, typically clearing trees in the riverway is not allowed. It can be done as part of a project that's approved like this.
Right.
But just to go and cut trees in the riverway is typically a problem for the DNR.
But I saw the picture. Was there actual trees cut or was it just more brush?
There's a number of trees cut down in the bottom.
We don't have any pictures of that right here. Yeah. Yeah, we got an email with the picture, but I don't have a hard copy. Well,
I was the one who took the pictures. I put on some waders and walked the shoreline. Oh, actually it was ice at that time. And I took pictures and it's cleared all the way up to the top of the hill. There's probably 3 trees towards the bottom where the landing would be that are probably 10 inches in diameter that I could see. And the distance between them, I couldn't really say because I couldn't get on the property to measure. But I would say probably about 25 feet. There was stakes up steel stakes, steel fence post stakes. They were green in color with a white top. They were staked out probably the line or path of the lift, probably about every 50 feet or so going up the hill. And either side of that, it was cleared probably roughly 15 feet, maybe even more on each side.
I guess I got a question for Bill. It kind of goes with Mary's reference to the trail that was created. Who determines where that trail goes? Is it the homeowner or the builder or the DNR?
Well, that's, from hill hikers' side, we would typically go down where we're not trying to disrupt any trees, because we've been dealing with the Scenic Water Protection Act since it was enacted, in 83 or 84. And I started in this industry in 90. So I've been dealing with that legislation forever. So typically what we do is we don't have to go straight down the hill. We go left to right, right to left. And our whole deal is we don't want to knock trees down. We have a fairly small, narrow footprint. That's the widest point on my car is 42 inches wide. And then with the elevator, the National Elevator Safety Code guidelines, I happen to be a standards member. There's 200 of us in North America. I write code for this equipment in North America. And the way they talk about it is they talk about pinch points. We're worried about safety. So we don't want to get within 3 inches or 4 inches of a tree. We got to really be 7 to 14 inches away from a tree. So we have to sort of deal with the DNR. There's a little bit of working together with everybody from a safety standpoint, and from we don't want to, strip the land down to nothing. Last thing we want to do, because we want to make sure that this thing is solid as a rock for the next 40 years. So,
Who determined to cut the trail there?
So I truly don't know who cut the trail. We're not trail cutters. We're elevator manufacturers.
Well, let me ask you this then. On the DNR letter, item F says native vegetation plantings shall be used to form a vegetative canopy to screen the lift from the river. So if there's no trees there,
let me put it to you this way.
Yes.
We put that thing in the spring, and I'll bet you $10 that within a month we'll be clipping stuff down, because it will grow right back through it. Think of a bunch of guys walking on the hill, putting the lift in. 4 days later, we're done with the lift. We've kind of loosened everything up. Well, all those seeds will just go pop. First rain, boom, up. It's not like stairs. The minute you take the UV off that hill, you're done. Nothing's going to grow. And you look at stairs and it's all rutted out underneath it, especially on a hill like that that's steep. We want to be able to just penetrate into the hill. If you do a footprint of the total fit penetration of support structure on that entire elevator, we're talking about like a foot to a foot and a half square feet, because we're doing it all in penetration, no concrete. So it's a little different animal. It's really a very small footprint from our side of the equation. You've got 80 square feet, let's just say, of platform, 40 at the top, 40 at the bottom. So we don't have a lot of penetration there. DNR, DEQ in Michigan, any of these environmental groups, we work worldwide. We just happen to be in Minneapolis, really close to you guys. And a lot of our work is Wisconsin, because I carry my master elevator license as a journeyman mechanic. I can't pull a permit in Wisconsin or Minnesota without that. I carry insurance, and I'm a licensed elevator contractor as well, a commercial elevator license contractor. Well, all we do is manufacture these elevators. So we deal with the DNR like all the time. And environmental issues are a forefront of everything we do.
and we've as a village, we deal with the DNR a lot.
Yeah.
And sometimes they can be sticklers. My biggest concern would be that all these concerns that the DNR person put on there, that it can be done. It can be met.
Absolutely. And so if you think of like earth tone colors on the track, so they say we don't want shiny. Well, I understand that. normally, if you think of a dock post, think of a lake dock post or a river dock post, that starts out galvanized, but within 6 months it turns gray. It
Yeah.
grays out, and all of a sudden from the river, you won't see this. It is so, there's so much foliage on this hill. You're not going to see this thing from the river. There's no way. By the middle of July, you won't even know where it was if you were out on the river.
Is that what your car looks like?
That's my car right there. Now that's a
You see it?
slightly smoked Lexan, so I can go with the clear Lexan. That's Lake Minnetonka. You bring it up to the top of the hill, and that's exactly what you're going to see. Versus a bird cage. If you want a bunch of spindles on that thing, here we go. Boy, that thing is beautiful, isn't it? Holy,
It's like a monorail.
I really do a nice job, don't I?
I mean, that's a silver frame. That's not the right color, obviously.
No. That's stainless steel because of the fact we do a lot of, half of my work is California. I got to be honest, half of my work. That one there is for a guy by the name of Tim Green, who played for the Atlanta Falcons.
Right
That's
here.
on Skinny Atlas Lake. And he was a,
Okay, well, I was just
yeah.
pulled up their website,
No.
and I thought it would be good for everybody to see the size of the unit and the extent of the tracks, of the armature, so.
These lifts are all over the St. Croix.
Yeah.
They get built in every township, Troy, Hudson, and every place else.
Yeah, way
There
up.
are
Okay.
different designs. One thing I do know is that I have cut down a path before. I do tree trimming with my friend, and I'll tell you, working on those hillsides is hard. But when you're doing the environmental thing, you also try to keep everything. It is tough trying to build a lift when they tell you this tree must stay there because it's at 14 inches and it's not 12 inches. And then you look at, you're like, well, this will be a problem years later. But that's not the problem. It always looks really big when you trim these things. But until they fold back in,
Understand you.
it does go back in. And then the big thing is what is your ground cover? I mean, buckthorn's gonna be the first thing to come in later on here. And we do a lot of that afterwards. We just go and clean buckthorn and keep everything off. But so do you have natural plants that you would plant that help to keep buckthorn down? And because what I have found is whenever you disrupt the environment and you open it up, it opens it up to the invasive species, buckthorn, one of them, Mary. Would you be doing anything of that for ground cover so you don't have all those weed trees and everything growing up and covering it up, as you say, covers it up? Because the natural fold, the other trees will fold in. They actually like it. But what's the ground cover? Because I mean, I see that over and over, and I've never actually been able to keep working through with these crews. And my hat's off to your crews that do this work. Honestly,
It's very hard work. Very hard work.
but
So
so
I
what's the
always
ground
talk
cover
about
and erosion
ground-
control?
Ground cover. And you look at low growth ivy, stuff like that, that's gonna take over and keep that hill from not moving. And like you said, the overgrowth will just start happening. You'll end up with a tunnel of trees is what happens. But I tell you, these guys, when you're working the ground there, you know how many seeds are waiting to jump in and take over? I mean, literally, the customer will call 6 weeks later and say, the lift stopped halfway down the hill. Well, what happened? Well, we got a stick or a bunch of weeds that wrapped into the safety system. Well, I told you to do a little bit of weed whipping down there. So it's amazing how fast it'll take over again. But a lot of times we will say, throw some fescue grass down there, something quick, and that'll grab. That'll be a nice mat. I mean, I hate saying it, but Creeping Charlie, which a lot of people love and hate. In the old days, they loved it, and now they don't hate it anymore. or, it's, the drill. So
We have native
I think there
grasses.
could be a revegetation thing that we could work with the DNR on. But I tell you, by the time my guys will be back there, within 4 weeks, it'll grow right back up.
Can I just make one more comment here? And my background, I'm on the Plan Commission in Troy, and Troy's on the Riverway.
Yeah.
And recently we sort of delegated authority on these things to the county, but before that, we dealt with a lot of lifts. And two issues that we dealt with. One was, determining what trees are going to be cut before the lift was put in, before it was approved, and also a post-construction vegetation plan to mitigate any problems. Now,
Yep.
I don't see either one of those as part of this submittal. I think the DNR recommended that a vegetation plan be provided. And the other thing, if in fact there was a 15-foot swath cut down this hill, that's an issue. And I think documentation should be provided as to what was cut. And, then the DNR will probably get involved and require some sort of mitigation.
Okay. Like I say, we didn't do that.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying,
But I got you. I got
maybe
you.
before this gets approved, or as part of that approval, a little investigation gets done and
Sure.
some additional information be provided.
Actually, I think that information should be provided before we approve anything.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, I would
I
agree.
agree with you, Mary. I
And-
think you shouldn't be able to cut those trees down till it's been approved to be cut down.
Well,
And they-
especially a 15 to 25 foot width
Yeah, that,
all the way down, when in the Riverway, you have a foot on either side of the lift that you're putting in, and that's it. So we're looking at 5 feet, maybe maximum 6.
Can I say something? I'm the owner of the property.
Sure.
Save a Tree is the one that cut the trees, and they worked, I believe it was with zoning or the DNR, I don't know who they worked with, but they submitted this whole plan. So I don't know if that got lost or where that would.
We haven't seen it, so I really think we need to see that before this gets approved.
So Scott Hankey, do you know who he is?
It's not up to us to get the plan. It's up to the applicant to submit this information to us.
If you're gonna, so you have these people design or get an approved plan, the plan should have been presented along with this information to get a full approval of the lift, not to have the work done ahead of time without approval.
As my understanding was, we did have approval. So I'll have to look back in just a minute.
who gave her
Has this
approval?
shown up? I've only been on the planning committee for a year and a half. Has this shown up before?
I guess I would be surprised if there's approval to cut a 15-foot swath down the hillside.
It's actually more than 15 foot. It's 35 feet probably.
Yeah, so that's going to be an issue, and I think we need some documentation, and I would recommend, we proceed and have a public hearing. I don't know if we open the public hearing or not. That sort of got lost in the shuffle maybe, but we can go ahead and have the public hearing, but then maybe table the application until more information is received.
From what I understand, the DNR is kind of in the background on this situation because the village of North Hudson has its own standards that meet or are above and beyond the DNR's requirements. And so that documentation would have had to come to us because this is where it goes for that approval, not to somebody else.
Because it's
That's my
inside of
opinion.
our limits, but inside of their limits. So did they okay it? And then we just didn't okay it? I'm wondering why this happened now.
Well, I talked to Kay, I can't think of her name, my last name right now, with the DNR. About, and she didn't know of any approval. And I asked, are they allowed to go ahead and do this work ahead of time? And she says, from what I remember in the conversation, she said, that's up to you because you have your own requirements there in the case.
Yeah, according to our
Hey,
ordinance,
River,
according
lower.
to our Riverway ordinance, you can't do any of that before it's approved because it's conditional use.
right?
Yeah.
Paul, I have a question for you. I was just gonna bring up the public, hearing when you brought it up also. If we thought we.
And Mike, I think you're on mute. We
You're
can
on
hear you.
mute, Mike.
Why? How?
Mike, we can't hear you. Unmute.
Thank you. Now can you hear me? I
Yes,
was just gonna bring up the public hearing when you did. If we decided we wanted to table this till next time, would it be better to have the public hearing in the future instead of now? Or because we proclaimed it, we should do it now?
Well, you'd have to renotice it for another
Yes.
public hearing. But you can go ahead and have it now if you want to.
wouldn't it make sense to have it after we know the whole situation?
Yeah.
And that the people that want to speak know the whole situation?
That's up to you. You can certainly do it that way, but you just have to make sure you renotice it properly.
Yeah, and I was talking to Jessica about that, so I think that might be the way we go, just from listening to the comments on the board here, so. If Mary, for instance, do you think if there was a motion to table till next meeting or till we hear back from the DNR, I'd entertain a motion for that.
So Heidi was gonna go look for her, did you find your documentation?
Well, I
Heidi?
don't know exactly what I'm looking for, but it's this is a evidence of approval, SPS 318.1008. It was, oh, this is for hill hiker. What was this? DSPS. This is my one of the approvals. And then the Village of North Hudson application for conditional use permit. I signed that on September.
Yeah, that's this.
October 28th.
Yeah,
And
that's
this-
what we have here, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have to save a tree one? Because this is the one I believe that went through the zoning or something with somebody. I don't know. Scott Hankey took care of it. I talked with somebody and they said, oh, okay. Before we cut down the trees, he had identified every tree and what they were doing. Is that what you don't have?
What zoning person, the zoning administrator for the
You
village?
know, I don't know that I don't know that for, Brandon King Land Surveying is the one that did all the surveying of the,
Yeah,
that's nothing,
no,
not you. This is the one that Scott worked with, Scott Hankey is his name.
Wait.
And he worked directly with and gave this to whoever approved it. And I thought it was a zoning or DNR. I didn't know who it was. I just let them do it because I don't know anything about it, you know?
well, our zoning and,
Bring anything.
our zoning administrator is
Nothing
also
can
our
write, then
building
we
inspector,
do it next time.
What was his name? I talked to somebody on the phone.
Brian Wirt.
Where's my phone? Oh, here, I'm on my phone, I guess. Can I do that with me being still with you?
He did not mention in his November 30th letter that he approved the clear cutting of the
Yes,
location of
Joe,
the potential lift.
state zoning inspector, Joe Merca. Is he anybody or is this a different state? I mean,
Nobody
Joe
from the village.
It would have to be remember, the North Hudson's zoning commission,
Right. Or our
not a
zoning.
state person.
When was this path cut?
Yeah, I can't add to that. We're done on 90. I save a tree, work done on September 22nd.
So Save a Tree did this without a DNR permission, or and you did this without a DNR permission?
No,
because-
I don't believe that's true. I think he had permission. Scott worked with somebody because I talked to somebody. And so we had all these conversations and I don't know exactly.
Conversations are nice. Do you have paperwork?
I sent,
It all gets voted on. It takes paperwork, multiple signatures.
I think we should, I'd make a motion to postpone this until the applicant has all the information presented to the plan commission.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion made and seconded. Discussion. We did have a public hearing scheduled for tonight. We will notice that for the next time we address this as the plan
Yeah,
commission.
I
So the
would
public can
amend
have
my
some-
motion to have the public hearing also postponed and properly noticed until our
That'll be
next.
part of your motion, okay? And Jean, that's part of your second.
Second.
Any other discussion from the plan commission?
Nope.
Hearing none, we'll vote on Mary's motion. All in favor of postponing this till we get more information from the DNR, signify by saying aye.
From the applicant,
Aye.
from the applicant, the DNR, or everybody. We need a
Yes.
complete application.
Yes. All opposed? Okay, that motion is passed. So we will take this up as we get more information. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The
And
next item,
Heidi, you can submit that information to Jessica, our deputy clerk. Like you've been submitting, did the application, so if you send all that stuff to Jessica, and maybe Jessica can actually send you an email of the list of things that we need, that might be helpful for you.
yeah, I don't know. This is the recommended tree trim up that I gave to, his name was Patrick. P-M-O-O-S, Moose. I don't-
He's our public works director. You gave him what?
That's who, he's got the stuff. That's who I work at.
He's got what stuff?
He's got all the stuff from Hanky. I mean, I left them just do all the, he's got all the tree estimate and the tree removal stuff and all that. That's who, I'm just looking back at my emails.
He's not authorized
No,
to approve that.
no.
No. There's a,
I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm just letting,
Okay.
we're just doing it the way everybody told us to do it. And I called many times on different, different numbers, and I was just that because they knew what we were doing, and this is
Okay.
what I was told to do. So.
So-
that's,
anything else you haven't given to Jessica, give it to her and then we can get this moving for you.
well, I don't know who
Well, I-
Jessica is, or if you could, somebody could tell me that, or do I have to call? Would Scott Hanky know who Jessica is? Because I don't know.
Jessica is our deputy clerk at the village hall. She's the first person you see when you come in the village hall.
Well, listen, I'm in Arizona right now, so I'm not going to be there. So I'm trying to do this remotely. So,
You
you,
would be the one you need to contact with your new information.
yeah. you'd have to
Jessica's listening. Do you want her to just call you?
yes.
Give her your number, Jessica.
Oh, this is Heidi. You want me to,
No, just a second.
You want-
I'll talk to you.
Jessica's
You
on.
want Heidi?
I'm sorry. I got to get a pen. Hang on.
Okay, so what should I do?
Rich people are crazy.
So Heidi, the
Okay.
St. Croix River, the upper and lower, are the largest, if combined, largest protected river in the United States at this time. I don't know, maybe close, but the DNR and the local government up around this area protect it, some more than others. It's very important that you look at this.
Well, it's not just the St. Croix River, it's this segment of the St. Croix River is a National Scenic River Way.
Correct.
So it's very tightly controlled. Yeah, there's a lot. Nobody's gonna get a permit through a public works
No,
person to
And-
go ahead and do what you're doing.
cutting trees without permission can lead to trouble. So I would start trying to connect on your right leads and trying to work it through and right now and go on those routes.
Okay, for Heidi, I talked to Jessica, the village clerk. She has your contact information and she will call you. Okay?
So
Okay,
I'm gonna
thank
make,
you.
I think
Yes.
I think we need to get a clarification of we need a tree survey of the trees that are in the area being affected, the trees removed, that have been removed, and then a replacement plan with the track of this lift in place and the landings. We want a correct representation of what this is gonna look like. So that's, what's the applicant, Jill, is that your name, Jill?
Heidi,
Heidi, I'm sorry. Heidi, you need to have your people either save a tree or a survey or come out and indicate where the trees were that were taken down and what the path of this lift is going to be. So you need the lift guy to be out there. So Bill, if you haven't been to the site, this is the opportunity, right, of a lifetime, right? So you've got to get out there. You have to verify this location. Right now we have that line drawing that doesn't seem to represent anything but just a pen scratch. And I've seen some documents that look like they're real, right? But nobody's verifying that that's exactly the case. So you need to get this certified with a surveyor's drawing, elevations, footprints of landings on that drawing, pathway, trees, trees indicated. You really have to get some homework on this, Heidi. I know you're in Arizona, but you got to have people do it for you.
Oh, we did. We had the whole survey. I mean, this is a $3,500 cost that they did all the survey, the topographic survey for the tram, working with Hill Hiker. It's right here. We had the approval for it. It's right here. We have individual trees right here that were cut down, and it tells exactly where it was dormant, season pruning, da, 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 da. It says,
Okay, well, get that information to the office.
Nobody here.
Don't have it.
We haven't seen it. We haven't seen it.
okay, I don't know. I was assuming that they were all in communication.
They came and did the survey. At some point, they came and did a survey. That's why they told us they had to wait to do that, to do the cutting before they.
They approved the survey. So they did the survey. And then after the survey was approved, they approved the cutting of the trees that Scott gave them.
Okay, but who told them they could cut that big a swath?
What do you mean
It
big?
isn't
It's
35,
only
it
5
isn't-
feet.
It's not, it's more than 5 feet.
What is
It's
it?
not 35 feet.
They said
We-
6 to 7 foot wide path right here. That they didn't cut. I don't know what you're talking about. If you go there, wasn't somebody there? It's only 6 feet. It had to be a certain,
It's more than 6 feet.
what is it?
It's more than.
And
6
most of it's brush. I don't even know how many trees they actually cut down because we're trying not to cut down trees.
Right.
Well,
And that's the whole purpose, is not to ruin the,
we just need that. We need that documentation. We haven't seen it. So we, as the planning commission, we have not seen that.
So the village clerk will contact you and you can work out those details.
okay. When is this meeting? Because we're supposed to be putting this tram in at like,
This was the meeting if we had all the information, but we don't have it. So we can't
Okay.
act on it.
okay, well, it's just miscommunication then. I'm sorry. I leave it, I leave it
Planning
to the
Commission
professionals.
meeting
to
is in
decide-
January.
What's that?
Our next planning commission meeting is in January,
Okay,
3rd Wednesday.
3rd Wednesday, okay. All right, well, I'll talk to Jessica and I'll talk to Scott and Hill Hiker again and whatever, so, yeah. I don't know. I'm new to this whole thing. It was very confusing because there's Village of North Hudson, there's Hudson, there's all this stuff that, you know, we thought we did it the right way and got all the approvals.
Well,
Okay, that's what we need. Thank you.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, next item on our agenda. Application to create a 4-lot minor subdivision containing 1.04 acre, 0.45 acre, 0.91 acre, and a 0.92 acre parcel in the village of North Hudson. Applicant Hartstone LLC. Someone here from Hartstone? Yes, I see that.
Yes, I am. Damian Jenkins.
Hello.
Hi.
You'd like to just kind of briefly talk about, we have your packet, but you can. go
Yeah,
ahead.
basically just going to be creating four lots, 3 new additional lots. The house will be on the 1.4. There will be a 0.45 off of Galahad Road, and then a 0.91 and a 0.92 off of Summers for the 4 total lots. Jeremy Scott here from RLS Surveying, the company I had did the survey, and I'm here to answer any questions for you guys. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Okay, members of the Plan Commission, who has a question?
Who's Heidi Miller and Trust? She's the owner of the property, apparently.
Yeah, currently it's the gentleman, her husband died, so half of it's to Hilda, half of it's trust to her.
Hilda, yeah.
Yes, half
So
of it's
that's Dave Swanson's significant other then. apparently.
Yes, and then the other half goes to Dave Swanson's son.
Okay.
Are there other parties in that too, or is it just between them two?
From my understanding, it's just between those two. The son owns half of 50% and Hilda owns 50%.
Okay.
Kevin from Cedar Corp, we got your comment with the 6 comments on there. Is there anything additional you want to put on?
Nope.
They're all straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we have a parkland dedication fee. That's going to be set at $3,000 with what's being proposed here. Lots 2 through 4, there is public sanitary sewer and water in front of all the lots, so they're going to be required to hook up to municipal sewer and water. They did provide a revised document to verify the one garage is meeting the minimum side yard setback of 5 feet. And yeah, they'll just need to provide a final copy of the recorded one to the village after it's been recorded.
Okay.
I have one question, which may be something I just don't understand. As you go along Galahad, I guess it'd be the southeast side, is there no sewer line going along all those houses on Galahad? Not on the river side, but on the other side.
There is sanitary sewer and water along Galahad Road. If I remember right, it's on the western side of the roadway, utility wise. So they're.
I just wonder why lot 2 isn't going to hook up to sanitary sewer.
Kevin's saying it would be.
Yeah, you would be required.
Yeah, it would hook up.
Yeah.
It would be, okay, what I read, I didn't understand then that it wasn't going to be, that only the 135, 134 were going to be hooked up.
Yep, no, he said 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, 2, 3, and 4.
Well, what happens to 1?
It's already hooked up.
Yeah, there's already a structure there.
Oh, because there's a house there on the corner.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha. All right, got it.
Okay.
All right, sorry for the question.
Kevin, what is the minimum square footage for a city lot? Village to North Hudson.
Single families, 13,000 square feet.
Yep,
Okay,
Brian's letter said 13,000.
okay.
Minimum lot width is 90 feet, I believe.
That's what Brian Wirt's letter says.
So yeah, the lots themselves are quite a bit, bigger than what the minimum requirement is, around that 13,000.
I don't know if you want to open the public hearing, but I will have something to say later. I don't know if we want to talk.
Okay, you want to wait till later? That's fine. Okay, if there's no more questions now, we will entertain a motion to go to public hearing.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
I second.
Okay, all in favor of going to public hearing, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are in public hearing at 7:54. Is there anyone from the public who would like to make some comments or questions?
I don't know how we do this.
Hang on a second. We actually have some people here at the village hall. You have,
In case there's something.
if you have a comment or question, you may speak to the people. Just come in and identify yourself and,
No, it just,
okay, that's fine.
something comes up.
Well, that's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll put it this way, if we don't get anything, it's been a minute now, so is there anyone from the public who'd like to comment? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to come out of public hearing.
I move to come out of public hearing.
Is there a second?
Second. Oh, Rob's got it.
All in favor of coming out of public hearing, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
We are out of public hearing at 7:55. Thank you, folks. Mary, do you have some comments?
I do. Since we are a planning commission, and there just happens to be a 5-acre lot to the south, abutting to the south of this proposed subdivision, I think we need to take into consideration the potential development of that 5-acre parcel. And we have the opportunity to put in access from Summer to Galahad, going through those two parcels, the one we're talking about tonight and the southern parcel, to try to eliminate the necessity for another cul-de-sac in a standalone
That's
subdivision.
just what she's thinking about. Okay.
Cul-de-sacs require
Is this future access without having?
a lot of work from our Public Works Department
I don't know if it's gonna ban it.
to maintain. And I think to provide access to
Cul-de-sac sucks sometimes. Yeah.
the lots south of
And
this particular parcel, we can, you can do even a 25, 29-foot alley, so to speak, that would be used to service any lots or homes in those two combined parcels.
She's talking 30-foot, 25-foot.
Kevin, may I ask you a question about the length of the cul-de-sac and what's the limit or safety protocol there?
Yeah, so the village does have a requirement, it's, a maximum distance to the cul-de-sac. I'd have to look at it, but if I remember right, it was 600 feet.
Oh, I thought it was 1,000.
Maybe it is 1,000, it could be.
I thought it was 1,000 when I looked last night.
Okay,
Yeah, it is 1,000.
okay.
Hey, one for me.
I think the point is we want to get away from a cul-de-sac if we can do it. That could potentially be there. I'm pretty sure that lot to the south is going to be before us for a subdivision. Probably a major subdivision. And in the interest of the village, as far as maintenance goes, it would be better to have private access, an alley, if you will, because it wouldn't meet the minimum requirement for a street width in the village. But this would be a private access or an alleyway that would help reduce the workload and the cost to the village in future years.
Couple questions, Mary. Would it be paved?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it could be at some point, but not right now.
And who would be responsible for plowing the snow?
If it was private, then it would be the residents that lived in the area there.
Are there other instances of this in the village?
Alleys?
Private alleys where the people take care of the snow plowing themselves?
Yeah, it's behind Freedom, Cozy, all the way to Gubbs.
Yeah. So I was,
Mary,
yeah, go ahead, Tom.
where are you suggesting this alleyway go? Between
Well,
the 5-acre parcel and this parcel, a lot?
Yeah, I sent an email to you guys. Here we go. Rob's got it. My not so good rough rendition
I
of
drew
what I
the
was
cul-de-sac. I drew the cul-de-sac on here.
Okay.
Okay.
In my mind, it seems to me that the cul-de-sac is a pretty simple solution. And I don't know that I understand the difficulty with the public works maintenance issues.
because plowing cul-de-sacs take a lot more time.
Well, okay.
I would
I
not
guess
want to have
just
an alley going through my property that other people could drive on.
Yeah,
If I bought that land, I wouldn't want an alleyway that anybody could drive through. It's not a private drive.
Can I say something?
Yes, I
And
was
I
just gonna
guess-
ask you.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I think that would be a major detractor for anybody that'd be looking to purchase a lot from the standpoint you could have a public alleyway, anybody could go through there. And then
No,
if
this would be a private alleyway, not a public alleyway.
But anybody could go through unless you have a gate with a monitored system. Anybody could drive through there. And then those
Well, the-
people are
the problem-
liable
the
for anything
other-
that happens.
The other problem you're gonna have is if it's a private driveway, basically going through there, and you put in a public street on that 5 acres,
No.
you're
there
still
would be
gonna
no
need,
public street on the 5 acres. That
well,
would be all
you're
private.
gonna, well, no, your lots have to front on a public street, first of all. So when you do develop that 5-acre piece, you're gonna have to put a public street in there. And you're gonna have to put a cul-de-sac on it anyway, even if you have a driveway easement attached to it, because you have to turn around emergency vehicles, trucks, that sort of thing.
Well, no.
It just doesn't get you. And, you're just gonna open it up for maintenance problems for these private individuals. And you're really dictating how that 5-acre piece is gonna develop if you designate a spot right now where this driveway is gonna go through it. Without input from that owner.
So
I
I'm
agree, I
hearing,
agree.
I'm hearing that the plan commission is fine with looking at things individually and not trying to come up with an idea on how to make roads more smoothly, even if it was not a private alley. If it was a 32-inch road or foot road, 32-foot road, just the way Galahad is right now, which I'm sure will be expanded, and that's why the easement's on the west side of that lot, or all the way down, or east side. So you're not even interested in looking at a 32-foot wide road that would go from Summer Street, curve around and go to Galahad.
I don't think we're in a position as a village board to represent the village and recommend buying that parcel for the village.
No, we're not recommending buying the parcel for the village. This was done in planning commissions when the village was quickly growing. They got developers together and said, okay, we want to do an orderly thing. And even though each subdivision got done separately, there were a lot of them that were already planned to be I mean,
I don't see the big issue with a cul-de-sac. Mary, I'm sorry I just don't see that that's a deal breaker in this development that we don't even know about yet. It's not even on the rolls. We're trying to give an approval to a fairly realistic site plan that's laying here right before us.
So.
Exactly.
It's a beautiful
So-
site plan. Do we have topographic maps and what do we know about water drainage? And what are we gonna do with this? Because it is butting up to another property that may or may not be developed.
Yeah, so
The hillside.
we don't know.
Where's all this water gonna go? And I did not see in that plan, from what you showed me in that picture, any drainage zones, wet ponds, anything else. So
Well, I think this is kind of a preliminary thing too, where I believe the sale of the property is contingent upon, I'm guessing what, if the subdivision will be preliminarily approved, right?
I would be opposed to putting an alley through some property where we don't even know where it's gonna end up. And I don't think it's good for sale of the property for the owners that own that property when they subdivide. If it comes to the next parcel, then we'll decide what to do with it.
Tom, go ahead.
I agree with Gene primarily because you're bringing an alley into somebody else's property.
You
And
could call
they're
it
gonna have to
road.
engineer they're gonna have to design their 5 acres of property to include that driveway or that alleyway. And that's maybe totally disruptive to what their plan is. They might not even intend to have a cul-de-sac. They might have a U-shaped road through there. Who knows? You don't know you have no idea what they're doing. Bring an alleyway into something that's not even designed yet is kind of the cart before the horse, so to speak.
I've got a comment from many, many years ago when they put in Lynn Circle, just here, close to the village. That's a cul-de-sac, but the plan commission made them put in a stub to the north because there's undeveloped land to the north. But the difference there is there's no road access from those outlots because there's other houses there. Here you have road access on that 5 acres to the west. So it's different.
Okay. I disagree. I think we really need to look to actually plan and say, yeah, on its face, it's a good, it's a fine subdivision, but that's going to get developed and it would be a good idea to somehow connect those two without another cul-de-sac.
Well, let's wait and see what happens.
Let's, Kevin, what's your opinion on this?
I did go back and look at your comp plan that was put together, because that's typically where you look at kind of the overall for the village, where you want to have future roads and, sort of like up where the Derrick subdivision is, Gary Zappa's parcel to the east. I didn't see anything in this particular area for having, a connection road. Some of my concern too would be, if we put this alleyway in across these parcels that we're talking about tonight, who actually would have to pay for those improvements? Would that be burnt on these folks, whoever are going to be these prospective buyers, or the developer to the south's got to put that in? Just throws a lot of questions out there. And one of the, the second option on the bottom, like Paul had brought up, it's not you have to have public access. And along with that, you'd have to do a sewer and water extension just to get service for that particular lot. Topography wise, it is on a pretty good steep slope. So there would be some challenges with stormwater, street grades, and all those particular things. So fortunately, if we had the crystal ball, it would be a little bit easier, but not knowing what's going to happen with the parcel to the south, it would be all speculation.
is there anybody of the household here at the meeting tonight or watching?
The current owners of the house?
Of the properties next to it. The ones in questions to the south.
Feedback? Guess not. Anybody have anything else to comment on? Questions? And so if we were to approve this subdivision, then it would go to the village board, is that correct? For their final approval?
Yep, I'd have to go in front of the village board. Yep.
Yep. And again, with,
I see it's lacking in a lot of information from, granted, it is public. Other owners of the properties around it have known. It's been a difficult year, I understand that. But I mean, just for us to push it forward and to say that it's okay, and then I'd love to see all the water issues and everything, believe me, but I don't know what's gonna go on next to it. And because we are the planning committee of the village, we really need to make sure this works on all sides and all people's properties, not just for a certain household, but that we get this arranged. And if we never hear from the south lot, then we have to plan for that, because if that's never gonna be developed, then we have to make sure that we don't push all the water on their land to make it a problem in their future, because we have to control all of this. And it is a steep hillside there. There's a lot of water going down.
Could I interject for a second?
yeah, go ahead. I was gonna ask the village engineer to comment on water flowage, because I'm sure he's looked at that.
Sure, I was just gonna say, you know, in the village engineer's notes, he was gonna make it for anybody that's gonna be pulling a permit to have, you know, that designed to get your house, get a permit for that to be done. And at that point, it could be dictated exactly what landscaping would have to be done to get a house to go in there as far as water flow.
And Kevin, you want to comment on that? That's absolutely correct, right? That's
Absolutely.
typically how we do these things.
Yep, and it's kind of the same comments that we had with another CSM that came through last year.
Yeah.
So those are definitely the things that you want to take in consideration, especially with the, you know, the slope of the hill that we have out here.
You don't foresee any problems that this couldn't be done properly with erosion and water runoff.
No, not for a single family residential home.
Right.
Yep.
With or without, like the other people, you could get this done and properly without the south side being developed or not known.
Kevin, is that correct?
Yeah.
It's independent basically of what the south 5 acres is?
Correct. Yep. Not knowing how that piece is ever going to be developed.
And if this lot subdivision is developed, then we look at the 5 acre one, and then that has to get developed so that it's complementary to the one we're talking about tonight.
Correct.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'd like to say something. The owner of that 5 acre parcel of property has to have been notified about this meeting ahead of time. And
Yeah, because it was a public
I
hearing.
think if it was a concern of that individual, he or she or they would have been there for this meeting. And that's the idea of a public notice. And if you're going to bring up, issues that affects other people's properties, I think they should be.
Yeah, it's on this
included.
colored drawing. Everyone in the green was notified.
Yeah, right.
Well, apparently nobody was opposed to it. So I would move that we go ahead with the application for minor subdivision approval with the qualifications or whatever Kevin said about how they should build their houses.
Are you making Jessica's suggested motion?
Sure,
the
I
5
don't know where
items?
that is on my paper, but I will.
I've got it here.
All right, whatever the motion
Yeah.
was, I'd have to find it again. Yes, I'm just tired of discussion that's not going anywhere. Here's her motion.
Okay, she's making a motion now. Go ahead, Gene.
Okay. Motion to recommend approval of 4-lot minor subdivision at 658 Galahad Road North with the following conditions. Parkland dedication fee should be paid prior to the village signing of the final CSM according to the current fee schedule. The required amount is $3,000. Individual lot grading and drainage plans shall be provided at the time of the building permit application to confirm that adjacent property owners are not impacted by stormwater runoff. Individual lot erosion control plan shall be provided at the time of the building permit application to prevent sediment transfer onto adjacent property and village streets during building construction. Lot 2 through 4 will be required to hook up to municipal sanitary sewer and water main at the time of construction. Provide a copy of the final CSM to the village after it has been recorded.
Thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion as read by Gene, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passes. Thank you very much.
Could I ask you guys one question quick?
Sure.
So that's going to be then going to the, I think, January 6th village board meeting coming up.
I believe that would be the date.
Yeah.
Right, Mary? That'd be the date, the 6th?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure I was understanding correctly.
Double check with Jessica. She will know.
Will do. Thank you very much.
Is there any other routine business? Any old business? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor of adjournment, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. We are adjourned at 8:15. Thank you all very much.
Gene, I didn't think you were gonna move to adjourn.
Happy Merry Holidays to everybody.
You too.
Yes.
See you.
All of you.
Merry
Bye.
Christmas.